6.
The atmosphere did not disappoint, with Bison Nation taking on one of their top rivals at the Dome. Thank you for joining us. I'm Krista Boehm. Another exciting game today at the Fargo Dome with a chance for North Dakota State to move on to the national semifinals. Alex Egan joins us right away tonight with a look at the game. Alex?
Hey, thanks, Krista. NDSU and Northern Iowa meeting up for the second time this season. The hype leading into today's game after last night's action had many people calling this a national championship type game, despite it only being the FCS quarterfinals. And the game, it did not disappoint. Thanks to the NCAA, I'm limited in how much I can show you from the game, so highlights will come later in sports. But we can show you a final score, a 23-13 winner for the Herd. And Bison fans, another chance to see a game at home thanks to an Illinois State loss. As I said, in sports, I'll show you highlights from this one. Plus, we will hear from the team. Krista?
All right, thank you, Alex. We'll see you soon. And we welcomed a dusting of snow early on in Fargo, but it's been more of a foggy look in the areas of the valley. Justin Fanfarelli joins us now with a look at tonight. Justin?
And thank you, Krista. Good evening, everybody. Well, we did see that light snow move through into the morning, kept some fog and the cloudy skies as we went through the day today. Let's take a look at that satellite out there. And as you can see, we are seeing our share of clouds. System moving to our south won't really affect us that much until early tomorrow. And current temperatures look like this: 31 at Fargo, 28 at Crookston, 27 Valley City, and 32 as you make your way out towards Sisseton. We should keep temperatures into the lower 30s as we go through the evening with cloudy skies out there. It should be quiet and dry. That's not going to be the case as we go through midweek. We have some snow expected. We'll tell you about that coming up a little later on in the newscast. Krista?
A Grand Forks man led police on a chase early this morning that ended after he rammed into 2 squad cars but failed to escape. 57-year-old Billy Ray Hackler refused to stop when police attempted to pull him over for a traffic violation. They were originally called to a suspicious vehicle in the parking lot of a nearby business. Hackler then led police on a chase reaching speeds of 60 miles per hour near downtown Grand Forks. Officers then performed a pit maneuver to stop Hackler, who tried ramming the police cars to escape. He faces charges of fleeing, driving under suspension, under the influence, ingesting a controlled substance, among other charges. A startling night for an apartment complex in Fargo. A man allegedly was carrying a knife and knocking on doors. Fargo police say they received multiple calls last night at the apartment building on 15th Street South. A man got inside the building and knocked on people's door. A witness who answered says a bloody man was carrying a 5 to 6 inch knife. The man pulled the fire alarm as he was leaving and left in a white Cadillac. Police did not find anyone in the area or in the local hospitals matching the description of a 6-foot-tall Caucasian man. No injuries were reported. The gun debate is playing out across the country today, with some groups advocating for fewer restrictions on where people can carry guns, while others are working to get them off the streets. NBC's Chris Pallone takes us to Texas, where a pretend mass shooting by gun rights proponents is drawing a lot of fire.
In Austin, Texas, the battle over guns reigniting just steps from where one of the country's worst mass shootings took place nearly 50 years ago, the University of Texas. A guns rights group staged a march with unconcealed long guns at their sides, and then a pretend mass shooting with cardboard weapons and ketchup blood.
We're hoping to get the point across to people that gun-free zones are target-rich environments and that they need to be banned.
But following mass killings in Paris and San Bernardino, California, counter-protesters said the display was an insult to gun violence victims.
I'm just appalled that who does things like this, who thinks these ideas up.
At the same time, police in Clearwater, Florida were giving out gift cards to anyone who voluntarily gave up their guns. $50 for a handgun, $100 for a rifle. The conversation extends to the campaign trail, where Republican frontrunner Donald Trump told supporters Saturday the Second Amendment would be, quote, totally protected if he became president. Trump asserting the San Bernardino massacre would have been less devastating if the victims had guns.
If I were there, if you were there, if anybody here that had a weapon, if you were in that room, those people wouldn't have shot 14 people. We might have gone down fighting, but they're going down with us.
A hot-button issue evoking strong feelings on all sides. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
Monday will mark the 3rd anniversary of the school massacre in Newtown, Connecticut, the 2nd worst mass shooting in U.S. history. The UN Climate Change Conference ended today with cheers and some happy tears after an agreement was made by nearly 200 nations to fight climate change. The delegates meeting near Paris approved a pact that calls on the world to collectively cut and then eliminate greenhouse gas pollution. But the agreement imposed no sanctions on countries that don't. The Paris Agreement aims to keep global temps from rising another 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit between now and 2100. That was a key demand of poor countries ravaged by rising sea levels and other effects of climate change. In the pact, the countries commit to limiting the amount of greenhouse gases emitted by human activity to the same levels that trees, soil, and oceans can absorb naturally, beginning at some point between 2050 and 2100. There's just 13 days until Christmas, and many folks are still scrambling to buy Christmas presents. But as many turn to shop online, UPS and FedEx are working to ship your gifts as fast as possible. According to ShipMatrix, a company that tracks delivery rates of different carriers, both companies are already struggling with deliveries because of increased online shopping. On Valley News Live 10 at 10, we take a look at local post offices and how their holiday deliveries are holding up. A decade of work, countless hours of digging, and thousands of dollars, all for the largest mounted dinosaur skeletons found right in North Dakota. But for the first time in 65 million years, Bob will have to leave the state. Bob is living at the Barnes County Historical Museum in Valley City. He's been there for about a year and a half now, but the museum can't afford to keep him. There's a hefty price tag on Bob, $1.4 million. The Heritage Center in Bismarck was already committed to another large purchase. And on December 20th, crews will start to dismantle Bob. Then he'll be off to Arizona, up for sale to someone who can afford him. Cocoa, cops, and kids, all 3 ingredients came together at the Dr. James Carlson Library. A good turnout for children and officers who sat down and sipped on hot chocolate with the idea to show kids in the Fargo community that cops are people that children can trust.
Why don't we just get some police officers together and some color crayons and some color books and some books and just let them talk to us and let's interact with them, and so that way they can build relationships with us and they know that we're friendly people that they can talk to and approach.
This is the first annual Cocoa with a Cop sponsored by the police department. And sleigh bells are a sure sign that Santa is in town, which rang out in Moorhead today, celebrating one of Santa's secret skills, sign language. The FM Saratoga and Quota clubs held their 30th annual Signing Santa event for hearing impaired children and adults in the area. The event provides sleigh rides, holiday card decorating, and other fun events for the community to include the deaf and hearing impaired in the holiday plans. Most importantly, though, it gives kids with hearing disabilities a chance to talk with Santa in their own way and make sure he gets their wish list right.
It's really touching to be able to do this for all the kids. You go out to the mall and see all the kids sitting on Santa's lap and he's talking to them, and then you come to something like this and Santa's talking in their own language to the children. It's just amazing.
The event is held on the 2nd Saturday of December every year and will be held at the Trillwood Performing Arts Center again next year. And characters are coming to life not only for the kids, but to help theater students grow. That's later on Valley News Live at 6.
And the above normal temperatures will stick around as we start next week. And we have a couple chances of some snow, and I'll tell you all about that coming up next.